Foreign Secretary St. John Stevens looked up from his desk as the Prime Minister hurriedly walked in and shut the door behind him. "What's the problem, George?" he asked. Jellicoe looked at him and said, "There's a problem, Foreign Minister. My friends have heard rumours that threaten to upend your position, that you might be a homosexual." Jellicoe's eyes grew wide. Stevens chuckled and said, "Well, I always wondered how long it would take you lads to find out, and I assure you, Prime Minister, what you heard is correct." Jellicoe was aghast. "Norman, what are you doing?" Electoral consciousness of the Why are you so calm about this? "George, lots of politicians have things we'd rather keep under wraps, things that everybody knows but nobody says. If everybody spoke up about little infractions, it would bring down the blooming government. If, for example, someone knows I like other men, and I know they're boozing up with call girls, we can both live and let live, can't we?" Jellicoe's blood went cold, and Stevens knew he'd proved his point. "Let's not let this become an issue, Prime Minister." Well, that's what happens when you go drink with call girls. Right, what are we short on? Aluminium. Who we want to get our aluminium? Let's get it from Guyana. Spent a chunk of time there once, so why not help them out? Okay, a party united. "We have now united the League. Whether this unity shall last is a question for another time. But at this very moment, the whole League is working towards a common goal. To finalise this unity, we shall invite the 4 most important individuals in the League, Auchinleck, Stevens, Stirling and Powell, to a dinner at number 10 Downing Street. This could only end well." Excellent. Oops. I mean, we're going to have a ridiculously small air force. Yes, and I know you want me to build guns, but I've got lots of guns, so leave me alone. You hear? Alright, let's have a look back at our military. How's the training coming along, lads? Slowly. Go slowly. And then, of course, they're going to be missing helicopters. Ah, that's fine. Since we're about to get 1.6 billion from the, yeah, I don't believe the, what's the word I'm saying? Civilian economy. Why don't we increase our military spending slightly? Hammers, that's what I want. Yeah, so this is now done. Or do I not have to pay for these? Whatever. Oh, where are they? Construction level 8%. Da 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 da. Maybe I cannot change this. That's you know, okay. This one has a used factory modifier. This one does not. Just a percentage. Ah, darn it! Yeah, I thought I could clever my way into a whole bunch of cash. Apparently, that's not how the world works. So let's trim our cloth accordingly. Something like that. I think we'll see us hopefully break even. The dinner party. "I couldn't even believe it!" exclaimed Powell. I look at my file. There's only 3 or 4 pages on me. At the end, Knob who wrote unimportant, just unimportant. Can you believe that? Stevens laughed as he took a bite of his meat pie. "I haven't looked at my file. Somebody told me it wasn't much either." "It's absurd," declared Powell. "I went to Africa, India, and England in military intelligence back in the World War, and I never saw combat. I signed up for the rebellion, take part in the Civil War, and never see combat either. And now I hear that even if we lost, the bloody collabs wouldn't even shot me." "From what I hear, Wingate was awfully tempted to do that just back in India," remarked Auchinleck, prompting Stirling to snort. Everybody at the dinner party was happy, and so was Jellicoe. It seemed like all his work had paid off. The NDL was now united, and everyone was getting along just fine. Peachy keen. But we're still just socialist leaning. Okay, so last one we've got to do before we can sort out England, which actually will push us all the way back over to majority. Revising our old alliance. The United States and England have always had a special relationship. We've done our best to maintain peace and democracy in the old and new worlds for the past centuries, and despite our defeat against the Reich nearly 20 years ago, there remains a bond between our two countries. The 2 world wars, the 2 greatest English-speaking nations of the world, have been tried and tested like no other grand alliance. It's only natural that now, in our hour of need, we should look to the US once more as a partner and friend. Surely we can restore the good old nature and the good old humour of an alliance not yet forgotten. We'll see. So, I might as well use these since they're costing me money. Oh. Slightly frustrating, but there you go. Let's go back to finalising our infrastructure. Let's do Cornwall first. Almost there on it. We're still one factory too many. But I want everything. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, let's just run a slight deficit for now. Once we get Scotland back in our, back as part of the country, our income will be able to cover it at least. Why did no one think of that during the recent financial crisis? We're in debt, well let's just take over another country, get them to pay for it. I mean, that's not how it works.
Ready to move.
What do motorized look like, actually? I'm going to hazard a guess they're terrible. Yeah, oh, I actually have IFVs in here. Interesting, okay. Not as terrible as I thought they might be. Yeah, them attack helicopters. Death of Antonio de Oliveira Salazar. So he was a guy in charge of... well, Portugal, but the Portuguese part of the Iberian Union. So him and Franco had a kind of balanced relationship. Not to any changes now, because we can't afford it. But Iberian Union was the first playthrough, which was really interesting actually. It was quite a good one. Again, it's a lot more story focused than action focused. Okay, ties with Canada. Said it will return. Oh, or planning to begin my expand. Or we can get his friends out. Let's go for this one. Many Britons are understandably bitter about withdrawal of American troops during the Second World War. However, this withdrawal came a promise that one day freedom would return to England. Now that it has, we expect Americans to keep it here. Decisions? Ah, yes. These guys are balanced and insignificant. That is good. Everyone else is fairly quiet in the world. I'm not used to being quite so quiet. I don't see a Russian unification actually. I know they did a lot of work in the recent update, which this is not. I kept this at the old version because I didn't want to break my playthrough. I know the newest update has more Russian content. Austerity has ended. Pushes us into a big black hole. I think we can do it for one more year. Right, we do bases. Air bases, bases. Let's go Canada. Through all the hardships of the past 20 years, the defeats, the invasion, the end of the war, Canada has stood by free England, in whatever form it has taken. When Tobruk and the Suez Canal were lost, she remained loyal. When Britain herself was invaded, she remained loyal. Through decades of oppression and hardship, she remained loyal. It is time to recognise the contributions of Canada to our victory, and to give our humble thanks to the most steadfast supporter, in whatever way we can. Oh, Canada. Yeah, let's just keep boosting this. I don't see why not. More org, more attack, more defense. All good. This is about effects of unification. Now that some time has passed since unification was finally realised. Oh no, this is... that's the same text as before. But with now, our terrorism has dropped down to Welsh resistance. It's not quite as bad. Okay. Again, I'm not feeling any effect from it, to be perfectly honest. Tech done. Artillery. We'll give the next one. No. How's industry looking? That's all 70s. Engineering. Engineering. We could get more radars. Do we want radars? Don't know. It's funny, there's so much high-tech like equipment in here. Like you've got, you know, vastly increased planes and radars and all that stuff. I never use any of it. None of my playthroughs. Okay, well, not had that many, but they've never got that far. We could done our helicopter, done our light aircraft. Oh, stealth tech, that's cool. How's our boats? Our boats are pretty rubbish. Alright, let's modernise our cruisers. Should also look at air doctrines. Although, like I said, I don't think it's going to matter too much. The royal visit. As part of our Thanksgiving, the Queen shall return to Canada, her second home, to pay homage to the support they've given us. Other members of the royal family shall accompany her throughout the country and celebrate the return of freedom to England and the dawn of a new future that few would have dreamed possible just 10 years ago. Just in time for Liberals to turn out. Mr. Trudeau. The Canadian Liberal Party has won the federal elections. They are liberal democracy. Okay. US is a conservative democracy. And I think we're conservative democracies. Yeah. But you can't, I suppose if we went hard to the Whigs, maybe we'd become a liberal democracy. That's okay. I think let's not go for too extreme changes. We are, after all, just rebuilding after that. Ah. Disruptive period in our history. Okay. The cannons boomed, the cameras snapped, and the crowd cheered on the Ottawa tarmac as the royal family descended from the aircraft. As they got to the bottom of the stairs, they were greeted by the Prime Minister of Canada and the Governor-General, along with various other notables. As they walked towards the car, the PM asked the Queen, "How are you feeling, Your Majesty?" Excited, to be quite honest. I'm not doing a Queen Elizabeth voice. I'm really tempted now. No, don't. It'll be terrible. It's peculiar. When I was in exile here, I found myself eager to get back to London by any method possible, and I was overjoyed when everything went how we had hoped. But after a few months in London, I began to wish to see Canada once again. Philip agreed. Regardless, a royal visit by the Queen of England is quite an honour for us in Canada. I suppose it is, though I do say you must expect these royal visits to be far more regular from now on. The airplane has really lowered the barrier of travel time and expense for trips like these. And you may always feel free to visit the same nation that hosted you for so many years, Your Majesty. Who says you can't go home again? Ah, ain't that nice? Let's go. Well, let's make friends with our Pacific colonies. While Australia and New Zealand officially broke off from the Empire, their ties to OFN and our shared history and language keep us close in spirit, if not in geography. We should reach out to these former Commonwealth and current OFN members to help us rebuild our country and re-establish diplomatic ties with the rest of the world. Sounds like a plan. What are these guys doing? Another liberal democracy in Australia and a conservative democracy in New Zealand. Okay. Let's see who else in the OFN. If I go to where my button is, that one. We've got. Oh, that's right. Italy joined. I forgot about that. You've got Italy and a good chunk of Balkans. Not Serbia, who's obviously Italians, African holdings, words. South Africa's joined, those guys have, and then and the Guianas. Okay. Apart from that, the only other one is the Einheitspack. I thought it'd be called the Reichspack. When did that change its name? Or maybe I'm just getting expectations wrong. Oh, and then we've got the Daito, the kind of prosperity sphere, if you will. Cool. Listen, Burgundy's just on its own. It's all quake in our boots. Thought of nuclear apocalypse. Bear if I hadn't tripped over my words. Right. More field hospitals. We're learning about combat medicine, boys. Yeah, let's just keep pushing that. Boom! Fill bar. One more, maybe 2 more boosts on that and we'll be there. Most efficient army in the world, but it's tiny and has no tanks. I mean, in the 60s, no tanks. That's not a great state to be in.
Ready, sir.
Most of the guys are just walking about. We've got some helicopters though. What we got from the depths of Japanese occupied China, following the rest of Nanjing, aligned general, a great conspiracy. Okay. Aha. Rescind our claims. As much as it might sting, we are no longer an empire on which the sun never sets. For goodness sake, we just claim we fight for Wales. We must think more practically about our position in the world. That means making small sacrifices for larger gains. The prestige of some small islands in the middle of an ocean is not worth the support of potential allies in OFN. Renouncing our claims on these islands will present us as a team player in a potential alliance, and as a country focused more on democratic ideals than regaining a lost empire. There's Ascension and St. Helena. What controls those then? Helena not here. United States, St. Helena, and where's Ascension? Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. That feels a bit weird. You expect us to do some more chats about, you know, our actual old colonies rather than 2 random islands the US is currently holding for us. Well, I suppose not holding for us for much longer. Give me my islands back. Oh, does it degrade over time? Yes, it does. Aww. It's just a permanent political power drain. Not impressed. Oh, hey, you're fully trained now. Excellent. Yeah, level 3 regular. That's what was thrown in before. Germany sees Mauritius and Reunion. Which is... Hang on. Testing my geography here. No, it's Comoros. There you go, Reunion. That wasn't far off. Where did you seize it from? Oh, the Reich Commissariat, Madagascar. Where did you guys go? Just crazy nat socialist. Oh, it was from Japan. I see. Looks like we could get a big war. Oh, we've had some breakouts. Rwanda, Uganda. Mainly just the African Shield as it was. And Zimbabwe has broken out. Okay. Africa is the usual mess. It's a mess in every game. Oh, maybe not. In I'm talking about Hearts of Iron 4 here, not just in every game in existence. Quite often you find it, especially these days, it explodes, and even in vanilla explodes into millions of different countries. But I digress. Okay, bases. Our army is not in any state to fight off a counterattack by the Germans, should it come to that. We need more men, more equipment, and more time to organise our troops. OFN can provide all 3. We give them the right to station bases at strategic locations in England. Well, this technically violates our sovereignty. Everything has its cost. And a few well-armed Yanks on English soil is worth never having to endure such calamities as we have. You give me a bunch of guns. Hey, just a bunch of guns. I get some forts. I'm not sure that's worth giving up our sovereignty for. The Americans, once they get a military base, don't tend to leave. They still have bases in Germany. From the Second World War. They still have military bases in Japan from the Second World War. They still have a military base in Cuba, despite the fact Cuba has asked them to leave on several occasions. I mean, obviously, politics aside, they're, no, definitely for the violation of sovereignty by a we're here, make us leave if you want us to go. Good deal. Anyway, I'm sure we'll stay friends and it'll never come to that. Airfields. While our own RAF continues to grow, we will require assistance from our allies to ensure that the skies of England are friendly for the time being. Allowing OFN nations, including the United States, to base advanced fighters and bombers here will buy us time to develop our own forces and ensure we can ward off any attempts by the Germans to violate our airspace. Okie dokie. Right, so this is efficiency 1? No, loyalty 1. Where's efficiency 1? Why do I not have that as an option? More motorized, better motorized. Swap out outdated. I like the little stamp. Okay. Motorized optic. Maybe we should consider going. Is there not a tech in here that just says give me more money? That'd be nice. Let's go for radar actually, because if we're not doing anything with our industry, our construction industry, sorry, maybe beef up some of our radar station. That at least sounds semi-useful. There we go. Cool. I think they're both in a good place. I can leave them for now. These guys are absolutely fine. Billion austerity has ended. I proclaim the end of austerity. And welcome to austerity. Yeah, we'll risk it for a biscuit. Can afford one more dose of it. We are short lots. Serbia. Oh, Serbia here. They were communists not so long ago. Well, they've now decided to go German, so you guys are not in any faction. Oh, no, you're in the OFN. Hungary and Slovakia. So it's just Hungary's undecided team he's going to join. Okay. With the free world. After gaining the favour of the OFN, we're now firmly cemented as one of the free nations of the world. We've rebuilt our relationships with the former Commonwealth members and reaffirmed the old alliance with the United States. Uncle Sam and Britannia are arm in arm once more, and the light of democracy shall never fail on our island again.
Ready to move.
Or so we think. Yeah, so here you go. These guys regular and they stop training. Nice. Beast equip. Hey, the Gibraltar Dam is officially finished. Oh no, where is we go? League Nuremberg. They might be little ones actually. Yeah. But yeah, one of the big things in this mod is the Gibraltar Dam, which obviously changes the geography in here and causes all this malarkey. And it's completely useless at the start of the game. It's not finished. The Germans have abandoned it and left it up to Iberia, and it's just a lot of time, effort. Hey, well done. Congrats, my man. Like generating that hydroelectricity. I think that's what, yeah. Off the tides. But you can still sail through here, I believe. Yeah. Probably just a game mechanic thing. It's hard to cut these things off. Which is understandable. Understandable. So, yeah, dockyards didn't seem to be costing me money. I should have been paying more attention to that. Which is, if true, we should use all 10. Get our second cruiser out. We'll have 2 moderate cruisers. A couple, I think it was 6 destroyers. It's a pretty poor excuse for a navy. Pushing for international recognition. The displacement of the previous collaborationist government after the English Civil War has left some nations in the fog. Some do not know who we are, some do not recognise our government, and others are not even aware of any change. We must rectify this and show that our government, our England, is the new and true England. This allows us to step onto the world stage and open diplomatic and trade channels with friendly nations rather than being forced to continue to deal with the devil of Europe. But we've already made friends all the OFN, so it's a bit late. And we get loads of bleak power. Swimming in it. Swimming in it. Do I want to do anything with this? Not really. Shake things around. What I would love is what liberalism. Yeah, we could go super liberal, but I'm not going to do that. Stay a conservative democracy. League is war with loads of places. Peace has been brought to Vietnam. George, right? First, oh wow. Well, the ultra-nats have fallen apart here. Democracy. Good luck, liberals. Here that goes. Oh, it's all kicking off. Who else now? Russia National Reconstruction Committee. More Democrat. Ah, so Vietnam is at peace as despotism. Well done. Well done. Have fun with it. Peace, harmony, and despotism. While we won't find many allies near to us in Europe on the Atlantic side, there are more than enough diplomatic prospects in the Mediterranean who may be willing to support our government, specifically the Iberian Peninsula, the Balkans, and even Italy, who are, of course, now in our faction. Actually, we might get kicked out though if check that. It helps that we share a common spectre, so to speak. We should conduct an official tour of these nations with the goal of establishing connections as well as improving our own legitimacy. After all, a nation is not recognised as legitimate. Is it really a nation? No, we are, no offense. We're in the same faction as... But I get that the game doesn't order that things happen. This one do. More strength asks more base stability. I do not need base stability. Slightly tempted to... no. Will not go liberal. Would like to click the efficiency one once more. Oop. Maybe we'll do some of the base ones. There you go, 80-10. Okay, we've got to improve destroyer hull and a field hospital number 3. Let's look, excuse me, at ship stuff. Our destroyers, what are we going to want on them? Yeah, we do want anti-sub. Sorry about that. Tried to quietly die off to the side, but it probably came through as quite loud. Right, I've lost my train of thought. Yes. Destroyers. Yeah, anti-sub's probably the role we want for our destroyers. I mean, to be honest, you look at the modern age and obviously World War II, ships got bigger and bigger and bigger, big battleships. And then with obviously then you actually had the rise of air power. And since then, air is the dominant threat. So although we have a large navy, it's very obviously kind of specialized destroyers looking at anti-submarine stuff. We do have like I don't know if we get. I don't think there's any missile cruisers actually. But yeah, it's more about I suppose there's some power projection and kind of air defense and all that. But like a big battleship is useless these days because airplanes can take them out. I mean, useless is a strong word, but it's not where the advantage lies. Yeah, missile cruiser pick. Like there's a fantastic game which looks terrible called Rule of Waves, all about the rise of sea power, and it does end in the air, and it really shows just through the gameplay how these massive battleships eventually become completely obsolete to air power. Really cool. I recommend it to anyone who has. Hey, 68, we can get a new gun. We can get the SLR. Do that. In fact, I might do that. I might do it on my channel at some point. But if you can't wait along, I would recommend going to check out Tortuga Power, who has done past some very good Rule of Waves to Con. Well, that's one authoritarian Democrat's gone, I believe. So, a little tour is done. Ties with the OFN. Oh no, Eng Wales Unification .166. Okay, so it's dropped down to riots, fine. While making friends and allies of nations in our immediate vicinity, all well and good, our greatest allies since time immemorial are in the OFN. The US has been a big help, but we also need to reconnect with our old Commonwealth allies, Canada, Australia, New Zealand and the like. Since the collaborationist government took power, the cooperation between our nations has been non-existent. It's time to change that. We should conduct official tours of the lands of our old friends. I feel like this, you should make you do some of this stuff before you can do the other ones. Anyway. Minor gripes. I mean, given that people make this out of passion for free, let's not get carried away. Right, I don't need that just yet. Let it tick down for a few months and that's absolutely fine. Good. Probably losing a bunch of money. 100 million a year. What's 100 million between friends? A small loan of 100 million.
Listen up.
How is our helicopter deficit? See, I don't think this just doesn't seem to be working right. You're claiming 0, but I bet if I look at any one of these guys, they're going to say, oh, you ain't got me helicopters. Yeah. Oh, you're missing a load of stuff, actually. Training may have been a bad idea. Hamburgers and hot dogs. This was good, thought St. John Stevens, as he slurped on his milkshake. You could get these things everywhere in New York City. An entire meal of a sandwich, fries, and a shake in only a few minutes. And for such a low price. There ought to be a location like this in London soon, he thought. Perhaps in every town and... Mr. Stevens, asked the Caribbean diplomat, you seem to have drifted off a bit there. Is the OFN still well liked in London? Certainly, Stevens said, remembering he was at an informal lunch during a conference with OFN members. The government is very keen on the OFN. It's really all a matter of you all being keen on us. We're so keen, in fact, we've already joined. We'll see what Her Majesty thinks about this, chuckled the Canadian Minister of Foreign Affairs. Suppose we could put some of our forces in your country? We could run anti-submarine patrols to keep the Nazis bottled up in the North Sea. Ah, I'm sure Jellicoe would accept that. I would have to see, but I think we could base some OFN units in England. Possibly including missiles? Asked the eager Secretary of State. And there are certain economic obligations the US would like to discuss that come with membership. We're broke, man. Stevens looked at his burger again. It wasn't exactly the best quality after all, now that he thought about it. But it's better than starving. Gonna say. Submarines, I think, is a sensible thing to do. Missiles, not so much. For any of you familiar with the old Cuban Missile Crisis, I don't think Germany would react very well to US missiles on English shores. The same way the US didn't react well to the Soviet proposition to put missiles in Cuba. Anyway, the East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, or simply the Sphere, is one of the world's foremost military and political alliances. Pan-centered pact may find it difficult to trust a nation who was once allied to the Germans and is now courting the United States, but it's necessary that England first establish cordial relations with the Japanese. We can send a few dignitaries to have the Prime Minister make a visit to Tokyo to make the appropriate gestures. However, if relations are established with the Japanese, the US and the rest of the OFN will likely be angered. Tensions still run high between the two alliances, and if England is to find a friend amongst them, we must toe this line carefully. No danger. Right, who's winning over here? Oh, EuroLeague's come out ahead. Hey, authoritarian democracy. We might get democratic Russia. Well, these were the guys. Were these guys down here? Oh, they were. It wasn't any of the ones that broke out actually. And in fact, this still ultranationalist is not in the war. Interesting. An English person's duty. Oh, are we having an election again? That's bad. Oh, we might be able to spend power to tweak it. The time has come. The candidates have been chosen for every party in every seat around the country. The parties have chosen their prime ministers, and they hope will occupy 10 Downing Street. And now comes a short yet chaotic tradition. I think this is the same text we had last time. It's time for elections. We've got National Democratic League and the Socialist Labour. We are going to go the Queen Country and the NDL. Yeah, there we go. More electioneering. Okay. We have to click lots of buttons. Right, where do we want to campaign? Which one are we? Yellow. Where should we target? Where can we flip? Here. Campaign in London. Yeah, London seems like a sensible place to go. This doesn't get a pop-up, is my... So many everything else gets a pop-up, and this one does not. But I think... What decisions do I have available? Don't lie to me. No, I think I know the one you mean. Yeah. We don't need to do that right now. Just need to focus on the election. Sushi and steak. They were talking again. St. John Stevens hated that. Mostly because he couldn't understand what the Prime Minister of Japan and the Foreign Minister were saying. He tried to assure himself that things were going to be fine. He'd followed all the social cues, bowing instead of shaking hands, taking his shoes off when required, even eating those fried balls. But what was in those balls? I could be tempted to make a very crass joke about this man in balls, given his sexuality, but I shall refrain myself. We are beyond that these days. Mr. Stevens, said the Foreign Minister through his translator, why does your government want to re-establish ties with the Japanese Empire after so long? England is opening up a new chapter in our history, Stevens explained, and his translator followed. We wish to seek an independent foreign policy from Germany. That means working with other nations to counteract the influence of the Pact. They were talking again. Stevens tried to take a bite to take his mind off it. Finally, the Prime Minister spoke to a translator this time. Foreign secondly, you do understand our hesitation to grant recognition to a nation close with the OFN. I do, but the relationship is more a guarantee of safety against Nazi Germany than an act against the sphere, Prime Minister. If you look at our geopolitical situation, you would find that OFN is the most natural ally because to balance against Nazi aggression. More talking. Stevens went back to his food. Why was Japanese food so weird? Maybe they were tired of it as well. Curry was popular here, he was told. My Emperor ate an English breakfast every morning, didn't he? Hopefully that was a good sign. You might say Japanese food is weird, but English food is terrible. Well, traditional English food is pretty terrible. As is a lot of traditional Scottish food, don't get me wrong. Well, I think a lack of variety more than anything. Best food we get is the stuff we nicked. Like curry. Curry's fantastic. Which is now national dish of England, essentially. We robbed... Well, we didn't rob that, but that's made by immigrants from India and I think it was Bangladesh, actually. One thing I will say for Scotland, national dish haggis, fantastic. I will promote that to the ends of the earth. Anyway, I'm going massively off topic. Finally, the Prime Minister said, Mr. Stevens, although we cannot commit to full diplomatic normalisation at this moment, we'll recognise your government as the rightful one in England. Hurrah! Sake! Keep campaigning. Hopefully, we should get to this within the time period for election, which would give us a massive boost. Now that civil war is over, it's time to bring England back onto the world stage. From South Africa to Scandinavia, we'll open an embassy in whatever nation will allow us. We may be less than pleased with our prior affiliations, but opening relations is the first step to reconciliation. In addition, having good relations with the rest of the world will be a crucial step in getting England back on its feet. I need to make sure I do all my campaigning this time because I really forgot to push it last time, much to my detriment. And that was another reason why I struggled so badly to push through all those reforms. Just didn't have the votes. You don't have the votes. Don't sing. Nobody want to hear that. More radar. How's our construction getting along? You're almost done. We could pop out a few more. Why not? Go up to say 20. Let's do 21. Bet we won't even finish those bends again. Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, our austerity is yeah, that's fine. No, because take it back. Just going to increase our debt burden if we do that. So instead, we will just embiggen our radar. Oh, right. This one? And this one? With a couple of good radars. I feel like we've got more than we really need. We just tear it down. Should we tear it down? Can we tear it down? Probably not. Looks messy. Okay, a democratic England. Never before in our history has England been so democratic. The voting franchise extended to those from all walks of life, all colours and creeds. It's through our continuing reforms that we've transformed our damp little island nation into a beacon of freedom and opportunity. We've done this after civil war, after invasion, after totalitarian power crushed our spirit. England is free in more ways than one. So we get a nice huge increase in support in a bunch of places. Should make our electioneering look a lot better. Keep going in London. I want to win London. So I don't know if the individual excuse me, counties matter, or if it's simply who gets the most votes. Isn't far behind in a few places. Ah. We're about to secure London though, which is good. And we can target somewhere else. East Midlands might be a good place to go. See what we can secure. Ideally we want somewhere that they're going to fight each other. Good. Wallace F. Bennett has won his second term in the US. Congratulations, Mr. Bennett. I almost said Wallace, but I thought that would be terribly informal of me. Okay, so we are done with our reform tree. I'm assuming at some point... something else. Oh, I realised our names changed. We have a Kingdom of England and Wales. Nice. Get to Air Forces. I don't know if we'll get through all this before we get bigger for something else.